Okay, so here we are back at the truck, and we are ready. We're getting set to put the driver's side manifold in. I won't be able to film actually putting the manifold in, so I'm going to kind of give you a before and after here. So we've got the manifold cleaned up, prepped, surface, the flanges have been cleaned. We've got our new studs put on, ready for the exhaust system. The exhaust is way down there. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. There. You may or may not see that. I'm not sure. Okay, so anyway, before I put the manifold in, I'm going to just basically stick the vacuum down into the cat to make sure I didn't leave anything in there. And also, before we go and bolt anything on, we're just going to have a quick check over here. See that we didn't miss anything, and this is actually ready. So that's all nice and clean, except I can see that. Well, I gotta get these shop towels out of there. That one. That one. Should be one more up front here. 3. And the last one I already got out. Let's double check here. We'll look through the fender well for that one. Good, 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 good. All right, so that's all ready. Our manifold is ready. Our gaskets are here. Our bolts are here. Anti-seize is there. I'm not going to put Loctite on these bolts. I'm actually going to put a little bit of anti-seize. The torque is going to hold them in, and once it gets hot, that anti-seize is actually going to cook a little bit, and it's going to act like a mild Loctite. So I'm going to leave it at that. So that's what's going to happen. That's the way I've done the other trucks, and you know, it's been 4 or 5 years at least on a couple of them, and they've never come out since, and they've never broken since. So I'm going with the successes that I know. Alright, so we're going to put this manifold in, and then we'll come back and show you some pictures of that. Oh, before I put that in, now is a good time to change spark plugs if you have that in your plan. And it's also a good time to change the spark plug wires. Okay. Spark plugs, you can run the platinums or the iridiums. I think the truck came originally with platinums. I'm running iridiums now. Kind of wish I would have gone back to the platinums, but we'll let these run their course, and then I'll the next change I'll go to platinums. All right, we'll get this put together, and then we'll come back. Okay, so there we are. Driver's side manifold is in. It's just finger tight right now. I mentioned earlier, a couple of segments back, about my bolt tightening sequence on these things. Okay, so now if you look at this, we have 6 bolts. Okay, the manifold is cut in the middle. I did the cut on this side, and then there's the cut on the other side as well. So basically now we have 2 ports held with 3 bolts at the back, and we have at the front we have 2 ports held with 1, 2, 3 bolts. Now, installing the manifold, I also showed you, sorry for the wiggles, I'm trying to hold this wire out of the way. Okay. I also showed you when the manifold was on the bench that these holes, most of the holes are large. They're much larger than the bolt, except there was one locator bolt, which is that one. It's exactly the same size as the bolt. And then there was the front bolt that had a slot in it, a horizontal slot. Vertically it's the same size as the bolt, but it has a horizontal slot. So that's basically for locating everything. Alright, so now the way I'm going to tighten these, my torque sequence, is I tighten them in pairs. Okay, so my torque is going to be 1, 2, 3 on this set, and I move over there. I go 1, 2, 3. That'll be my first pass. First pass is 11 foot-pounds. Second pass, I come back to the front. I go 1, 2, 3. Then I go to the back. 1, 2, 3. And the second pass, final pass, is 18 foot-pounds. Okay? The way I'm going to torque these, I'll get what I can up here. What I can't, I will go through the fender with the long extension in the torque wrench. So just... there's the torque wrench. Long extension and wobbly. May or may not need that. And there's our manifold. Okay, so we're going to torque these down, and after I've got them torqued down, I'm going to put this steering column back together. And then I'm not going to put the fender well back in yet. It's hard to see. I'm not going to put the fender liner back in until after I got the exhaust hooked up. So there we go. All right, over on the passenger side here now. Driver's side is done. But I just wanted to show you why I mentioned looking down and vacuum out the cat. Because just to check my work, make sure I didn't leave anything in there, and as soon as I shone a light on it, I don't know if it shows up on the camera. Well, let me get you in a little closer. It's like that, and like that. Can you see it? No, can you see it? There's a shop towel in there. Obviously fell down from when I was doing all my other stuff. The other thing I'm looking for down in the cats is welding slag or any nuts that escaped me when I was extracting those bolts from the heads. So anyway, pretty simple. Get the big shop vac, stick the nozzle down there, suck away and see what we can pick up, and then follow up with a magnet. Then we're ready to put the manifold on. Alrighty. Thanks for coming along. If you've stuck around this long, you're a trooper, and I really appreciate it. And I hope you're getting some good value out of some of the activities that I've done here. So I just wanted to show you, we're all bolted in. Bolted in. This is the passenger side, so we got a new manifold. Well, no, we got a refurbished manifold. We got a new gasket, and we have new bolts all the way down. They are torqued to 18 foot-pounds all the way down, and I discussed the torque sequence in one of the previous segments. So this is the passenger side. I've got new spark plugs in, and I do plan to replace the wires, but the wires have not arrived yet. The good news is, with you take the airbox off, and there's lots of room in here to work on the wires and stuff like that. So that's not a big deal. Okay, so that's the passenger side. Here's the driver's side. Okay, same. Just get the light in the right spot here. There you go. Same thing. Nice brand new Felpro gasket. Geez, I like working with those on these exhaust manifolds. New bolts, again, same torque spec. New spark plugs, and the wires are due for replacement. There's no performance issues with the truck. It's just, it's got 220,000 kilometers on it now, and still all original stuff on it. So I think generally we're doing pretty good on this rig. Fender wells are put back in, the liners. No magic there. Didn't really see a point in trying to record that. It's because there's fan dangling and stuff, and this is all held together by these plastic push buttons. Okay. So that's pretty straightforward. Now, let me give you a tour downstairs. So we're all done up top. Now we're going to go downstairs to look at reconnecting our exhaust system. Oh, I wanted to show you, because I don't like using ramps. Talked about those things a bit earlier. I like my trucks standing on their own 2 feet. So what I do is I have 2 sets of ramps. I put the, I can get the angle right. I put the front tires on a ramp, and I put the rear tires on a ramp. And then that gives me lots of clearance. And I've got no concerns about jacks. I will use jacks when I'm working on, say, a front end and the tire is off, and I'm not putting my body underneath the truck. Okay, anytime my body's going under the truck, I'm going to use ramps or solid blocking or something like that. Jacks, yeah, they're fine, they're safe. If I ever have to go under with jacks, I use multiple jacks just to double up on this, on the safety there. I don't know, I got nightmares of guys getting killed in their garages by jacks, and I really don't want to be one of them. So anyway, blah 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 blah, let's go down here and have a look at our exhaust system. Okay, so I'm trying to hold this in such a way, if you get under one of these trucks, you'll know what we're looking at, and you'll have an idea of the orientation here. So I'm doing the best I can with a cell phone, and I do realize it's not great photography, but that's what we have. Okay, so at the back here, there's an expansion joint that goes to the muffler. I've taken that expansion joint off. That was part of my initial start of the job anyway. There's a couple other things going on under this truck, which I'll tell you in a minute. But anyway, those are pretty straightforward. Just hit them with some penetrating oil. If they don't come off, then they will bust off. No big deal. Get the air hammer, pound the stud out. It's let's see, is this gonna zoom in and show you? Okay, you see it's just pressed in. Okay, so just pound it out the other side, and then put that's my plan, pound it out, put some regular El Cheapo bolts in there, because, well, that's a maintenance item. It's one that's supposed to come apart once in a while, and if it doesn't come apart, just break them off and put new bolts. No sense fighting with that. Okay, now up front here, bottom of the driver's side manifold. So this is the downpipe. Okay, so there's the downpipe. Let's zoom back out here. I'm wearing gloves too. Hold on a second. There, now I got better control of my camera. Okay, there's our downpipe. You're going to notice that I've got the oxygen sensor removed. Okay, I got both of them removed actually, because I took them off to test them. Figured this is a good opportunity to make your life a lot easier through this. Just take the front drive shaft out. This is literally just two straps, bent straps holding that in. So 1, 2, 3, 4 little bolts. I think they're 11 millimeter socket is what you need. And just take the front drive shaft out. It gives you all kinds of room and clearance and stuff to work in there after you take that out. Okay. Now, here's what I want to show you is see it? Yeah, okay. So that's loose right now. Okay. I got the bolts on loose. They're gonna get torqued to 25 to 30 foot-pounds. Haven't decided yet what it's gonna be. And what I want to show you is right here. Okay, there's the transmission. And when those front bolts are loosened, and you take this back joint off, where is it? Yeah, if you take this back joint off, then the pipe drops down, and guess what? You have all kinds of room for working on your transmission pan. Let me go over this way. Is this gonna be a good angle? Okay, so there's the automatic transmission. One of the issues on these GMs is when you go to do a transmission service and the exhaust is all connected, there isn't a lot of space between the pipe and your transmission pan, and you won't be able to get the pan out. Now what a lot of guys do is they put a bar in here and they pry down on the pipe so they can get their transmission pan out. Now there's no other hangers and supports anywhere on this pipe. So when you pry down on the pipe, where's that force going? Okay, well it gets transferred up to that flange. And then from that flange, where does it go? It goes to the rear bolt on your manifold. And guess which bolts are breaking off? So there you go. I'm not saying that's what broke these ones, whatever. I'm just saying, if and when you do your transmission, do not pry down on that pipe unless you want to be doing manifolds. Okay? It's really simple to do. Just loosen the flange bolts on both sides. Drop the pipe down, and then do your transmission. And if you're worried about those flange bolts breaking, well, it means you haven't looked after it enough, or it's time to do them anyway. So there you go. I just recently did the transmission here. That's gonna be a different video set, and one of the things I included here is I put a drain bolt in my transmission pan, just so I can change the fluid a little more often. Yeah, that location right there, okay? Back of the pan, driver's side, right in the corner. Inside the transmission, there's nothing in that area electronically or mechanically that's going to be affected by the protrusion of the other end of this drain inside the pan. So if you want to do it, that's where to put the drain. All right, so that's where I'm at here. I'm going to pound these out, bolt that up, and then I'm going to tighten the front flange on both sides. Then I'm into putting my oxygen sensors back in, dry shaft back in. That's it. I'm done. And I don't think you need to see all that. If you do, put it in the comments, and if I happen to have a video clip, I'll add it. Okay. Hope you enjoyed and got some good benefits from this experience. And really, that's my only objective, is to share the experience. I'm not trying to show you how to do anything or put myself out there as someone who's an expert to show you and tell you. But ask me any questions. I will help wherever I can.
You've got to have an ace in the hole, a little secret that nobody knows. Life is a gamble, a game we all play. But you
Okay, thought I'd give you a little tour before I put the drive shaft back in here. The front drive shaft, that is. Alright, so the collectors are bolted back up, and I've got my oxygen sensors reinstalled. Okay, so you can see the this is the driver's side flange and the upstream oxygen sensor, catalytic converter, and downstream oxygen sensor. The upstream oxygen sensor plug is just up alongside the transmission, right there. Okay, it's above the shifter. And the plug for the downstream sensor is on the other side of this bracket. So if I come around back here, there's a transfer case, and the oxygen sensor plug is right here. Okay, that's on the driver's side. Passenger side, it's a little more difficult to see because it's on the other side. But yeah, here we go. Up through here, there's the upstream sensor. See it? A second. There we go, reaching way up in there. There's the upstream oxygen sensor. Really easy to get to through the fender. Okay, so just go over the tire and reach in over the frame right there, and you can get that one no problem. The downstream sensor is right here, right along the frame. Very easy to get to, and both of them plug in. I just back up here. So there's the downstream oxygen sensor passenger side, and right above the frame, right there, is where both oxygen sensors feed to. This one is the upstream one, and that one's the downstream one. Okay, this is just underneath just underneath the passenger door. Sorry about that. Okay, so it's all bolted up. When you install or remove oxygen sensors, yeah, don't torque them and don't be scared of them. They're very simple. You think of them as no different than the spark plug on your lawnmower. Okay, they shouldn't be any tighter than that. So that's what I use. 22 millimeter shorty does them all. You know, even when the drive shaft is in and stuff, it's no problem. And that's all the torque that you need. You basically, if you're putting this tighter than the spark plug on your lawnmower, it's too tight. Okay, you don't need all of these fancy sockets and, you know, O2 sensor sockets and all that stuff. All you need is the proper size wrench, which is 22 millimeters, and you can get that out of there. And if you can't get it out of there with a regular wrench like that, then it's time to replace it. So cut the wire, use the box end of the wrench, get a whole bunch of heat on there, and put a new sensor in. And when you put the new one in, put some anti-seize and don't put it any tighter than your lawnmower. That's my tip for today on this stuff. Okay, now at the back here, all right, I showed you this joint. Okay, so that was pretty easy. I just put 2 new bolts in there and bolted it together. But on the whole concept and the whole idea, whole problem here of broken manifold bolts, particularly the rear manifold bolt. Are we going to be able to see it up through the hole? Let me grab my other light. Okay. Whoops. And go way in, right underneath here. Okay. Can you see the shiny new bolt up there? Past the flange? That's the rear bolt on the manifold. Okay. Now, this exhaust system, excellent exhaust. I mean, the flow and the way it's designed is just great. You don't need to do anything performance-wise on this. However, there is one flaw in this system, and that is all of that piping is hanging off of the rear of the manifolds. Now, there's 2 types of hanging weights. One is just a straight vertical, straight down hanging weight, which isn't much because this piping actually isn't very heavy. But then there's the other hanging weight, which is like that. It's torquing. Okay, so it's torquing on the manifolds like that. And the reason for that is when you come back here where this joint is. Okay, so that entire piping system is unsupported, completely unsupported, all the way back to this flange and even past this flange, because there's a flex joint right here, and that flex joint doesn't carry any weight at all. The only support between the manifold bolt and here is the muffler hanger, and between the muffler hanger and the manifold is a flex joint. So that this entire piping system is hanging off of the back bolts of the manifolds, being torqued like just the weight like that, and going down the road. Okay, because there's nothing, this isn't giving you anything. So the improvement here to this entire design, if somebody wants to take it forward, and I'm going to do this to mine, and I highly recommend you do it to yours if you're into this type of thing, is right here. Okay, I'm going to put a support here. It's going to be a flex support of some sort. I haven't decided yet the exact configuration because I'm not a muffler piping type guy. But if somebody made an aftermarket bracket to pick up this chunk of pipe and just provides some support to take all that torsional weight off of the manifolds, you'll save, I don't know, hundreds, thousands of GM and Chev vehicles from breaking manifold bolts ever again. Anyway, that's that's my second rant for today. It's one of those days. Okay, so I'm done with this job. I'm going to stick the drive shaft in, front drive shaft, and then I'm going for a ride. I hope you enjoyed the videos. I'm not sure what sequence I'm going to put them all in. It might end up being quite long, or it might be multi-part series. Either way, please give me some feedback on how you would prefer to view, whether it's a long video or multi-part. Thanks, and have a great, I guess, have a great life. Bye.